Oh my gosh, we're recording. Okay, kia ora, good morning. Um, my name is Nellie Morton. Um, a lot of people will by now be aware that I'm promoting myself as the Māori president. And when I say the Māori president, um, I mean that the word Māori is abbreviated. It not only stands for Māori, it also stands for, the M stands for men and women, the A stands for against, the O stands for oppression, the R stands for racial genocide, and the I stands for injustice. So that is what I mean when I say I'm Māori president. I've come up with, excuse me, I've come up with a movement called the Global Māori Movement, and this is where you declare all your wrong, harm, and bad um, in order to give yourself that spiritual cleanse, to cleanse yourself, of the things that, as one of my Facebook friends commented under one of my posts yesterday, it's it's the shackles, okay? It's the shackles that hold you down, that keep you repeating negative behaviours. Okay, so the global Māori movement is basically for all men, women, and children to declare all their wrong, harm, and bad, so that they can start making amends for all of that, and walk in the future without those things, those negatives affecting them too badly. Okay, so that's the global Māori movement that I'm starting, that I've already started actually. I've had expressions of interest, which is great, but it's not really going to kick off until I kick off. And well, this is me starting the kickoff. Okay, sorry. This is a really, really bad habit. I so apologize, but smoking cigarettes is really, when you read my affidavits and see what I've been through, you'll understand why I'm smoking. Please, children, if you're watching this, please don't pick up a cigarette. It's a really, really bad habit, and I don't condone it at all whatsoever. But it's helped me. Smoking has helped me through some very, very difficult times. Um, okay, um, so yes, my name's Nellie Morton. I'm the Māori president, and I'm promoting myself as Māori president because of some very, very important reasons. Um, one of those reasons is because New Zealand government has been processing Māori people like cattle through their most principal ministries, and they've been murdering us legally, and this has got to stop. They tried to murder me like at least two times. Um, well, no, the first time they tried to murder me was when the police broke into a home and injected me with something, and this was after I had founded the Māori Declaration of Independence um, in 2008. So that's when a lot of these attacks started happening. And I think to myself now, some of my heart adopted children were murdered through those attacks. And I think to myself, gosh, like we've been, some of us lost our lives over it. So I'm not just going to lie down and play dead, we've been through so much that I may as well continue my journey. Now, for those of you who think I'm just, you know, trying to be someone I'm not, as Māori president, um, I engaged this title because the way of the world is such that we need a leader for Māori people. Now, I'm not saying that I'm always going to be the leader or anything like that. I'm saying that we need a head of our organisation, and you know what? I'm not the only person fighting for independence from New Zealand government. There are a few other groups, and I wish all of us very, very well. My brand of government comes from a different point of view. I'm all about rehabilitating criminals, not punishing them further, because I recognise that we're all born innocent and that life writes on us, and we become the product of abuse, we become the products of our environment. And when you look at the environment that we Māori people have been living in under New Zealand government's rule, um, it's just, it's horrific. It's really horrific. They make it look like it's all peace, love and harmony, but it's not. It's not. If they were honest about the Māori children that they drug in the SIF system after taking them from their families, you'll see that there is actually a history of children dying. Now, they will never, never be honest about those statistics, but there is a history of our children dying through the Mental Health Act, through being drugged through the Mental Health Act. And these are deep, 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 deep concerns of mine, because I too have been forced under the Mental Health Act at age 40. In fact, for my 40th birthday, I was inside Rodney Mental Health. Sorry, no, it was the Taharoto Mental Health Unit. And there are a lot of things went on there, and that's where they tried to murder me the second time. So I've been through a lot, I'm not going to give up just because people might be jealous of my title. As Māori president, I tell you now, I am no more important than the homeless person on the street. I care about the people living homeless on the street. Um, it's about bringing the bottom up to the top, I'm very passionate about my cause for Māori government. It's not just for Māori, it's also for our international friends, and I'm hoping to set up some international allies that can come to our aid if New Zealand government ever tries to harm one of us again. Um, we do need support. We are a small country. We do need support from other countries to once and for all put an end to this oppression, the racial genocide against Indigenous peoples. So I'm really, really fighting for that cause. And if that means I have to put up with tomatoes being thrown at me, abuse being hurled at me, all that kind of thing, then you know what, so be it. Then that's what I have to do. Um, I'm actually a pretty cool person. I, I, I'm just, human, but I'm just a normal human. I do normal pretty well, but in actual fact, there are a lot of really, really, really interesting things about me. Um, I'm going to tell you a little bit about those things now. So, um, one of the reasons why I'm promoting Māori government in our country is because a lot of Māori people with spiritual abilities are being forced under the Mental Health Act and declared delusional, crazy, insane. They're drugged. I'm still being drugged. I'm being drugged with 25 milligrams of paliperidone every month. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's wreaking havoc with my body. I'm now the most overweight that I've ever been in my entire life. My weight fluctuates between 65 kg and 75 kg normally. I weighed myself yesterday morning. I was 97.7 kg, and that's down from 102 kg because I'm actually like doing a bit of treadmilling here in my home just to try and manage this weight gain. Very unhappy being this overweight. Um, it's not helpful to me at all. It does nothing for my self-esteem. So going back to being how I normally am is what I'm trying to do here, right? So anyway, that's besides the point. Um, so I want to explain to you, as I mentioned earlier, about my spiritual abilities. This is yet another reason why um, I'm fighting so hard for Māori government, because I do believe that there have been a lot of our people who have had spiritual abilities similar to mine, um, who have been forced under the Mental Health Act and um, electrocuted with shock therapy. I, there's a name for it. I'm not too sure what the name is. And you know, I believe that the main reason why New Zealand government is doing this to us is because they are afraid that our innate, in other words, born with abilities, um, will will have the whole world looking into Maori people as really, really special people. And that's what I want to try and evolve here. I want to evolve conversations about this, because it's time we came out in the open and condemned New Zealand government for um, treating us like we are second-rate humans, that we don't deserve the accolades, the glory, the fame that comes with owning spiritual abilities. Now, it's actually quite it's actually quite a difficult thing to come out about these spiritual abilities, because I'm acutely aware of the fact that a lot of people, thanks to New Zealand government, who takes a very strong stance against these types of spiritual abilities, I'm acutely aware of the fact that a lot of people will still call me delusional, will still call me crazy, will still call me um, um, insane, because I'm coming out about these spiritual abilities. But it has to be done. It has to be done, because they are not crazy. They are not delusional spiritual abilities. They are bona fide, authentic, intrinsically valued um, spiritual abilities. I don't know if I just made sense in that last sentence, but hey, you can correct me in the comments below. Okay, so there are five, actually there's about 8 different types of spiritual abilities that I'd like to talk about, and then I'd like to also raise awareness of the different levels of psychic ability as well. So I'll start with that. Okay, so there are different levels of psychic ability. Okay, so the first level, which has been quite widely publicised by Sensing Murder, um, is to be able to see things and hear things that are happening outside of your domain, where your location. Okay, so it's to see past, present, and future without actually being there. That's number one. Number two is being able to not only see those things. This is the second level. It's not only being able to see them happening, but it is to be able to also smell and taste what's in that environment. Um, I know I'm still trying to get my head around how to explain this, because, see, my particular version of psychic ability takes things to a whole new level. So I'm just gonna I've explained two different levels of psychic ability with what I've just said, but I'm actually gonna stop there, and I'm gonna go back to um, what I am now promoting as the spiritual abilities that I was born with, that have been a part of my life, the phenomenon that's been a part of my life since I was knee high to a grasshopper. And then the reason why I'm going to do that is because I think you'll better understand my different levels of psychic ability um, once I've explained what those phenomena are. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so uh, the first one is psychic ability. That's one of the spiritual abilities that I have. And as I explain this to you, I want you to understand that I'm not the only one who who has who is capable of this type of phenomenon. So there's psychic ability, being able to see and hear things past, present, and future without actually being there. Um, the second one I'd like to talk about is slipstreaming. Okay, slipstreaming is basically whereby, as I'm talking to you now, my child self is saying and behaving exactly the same way as I am. I call it slipstreaming because you're able to actually pass your future self through to your past self. Excuse me. Um, and quite an ask to that's quite a stretch of the imagination. I get that, and I know a lot of you will think, oh, no wonder they've got her under the mental health act. She believes in all this sort of stuff, you know. But I'm really grateful for the fact that a lot of you will actually believe what I'm saying, because you might have had similar experiences. Um, you might have had family members who had similar experiences. The really sad part about it is when you come out in the open about things like this, and then you don't get a lot of support, because not everyone, um, not everyone seems to have the ability, you know. But anyway, so slipstreaming is basically, and I've done this many, many times. Slipstreaming is where you pass your behavior, speech, mannerism through to your child self, so that as I'm talking to you now, my child self is also saying exactly the same thing. So I might be driving in the car with my dad right now, and I'm passing these exact words with this hand movement through to my dad while he's sitting next to me in the car. So then he's thinking, hang on a minute, why is my 6-year-old daughter speaking like this as though she's an adult? Do you get what I mean? I hope you understand what I mean by slipstreaming. Okay, so we're just bullet pointing things at the moment. So there's psychic ability, there is slipstreaming, and there is what's the next one? Um, my head's not too clear. My head's not too clear at the moment. Um, psychic, psychic ability, slipstreaming. Okay, and then at the top of my spiritual abilities is time travel. Okay, so with time travel, I've had some really really interesting experiences. What I call actually, instead of calling it time travel, even though it is that, I prefer to explain it as walking into different time zones. So, for example, over my life, at various times in my life, I've walked into certain houses, certain rooms, certain buildings, and I've walked into something that is happening either in the past or in the future that was not actually happening at that particular time zone that I walked into the building. And so I'll give you an example. Down towards, when you're traveling towards Gisborne, there's an old house. Um, it's they're preserving the house, so they're looking after it, they're taking care of it, and they are preserving it so that we have a little snapshot of history. Um, and we can actually see what this house looked like right way back in the early 1800s. So what was really interesting was I walked in there one day. A lot of you guys will know it who are local to the area where it is. But anyway, I walked in there one day, and this is an example of the type of time travel that I have done. I don't really like the word travel. It's more like walking into a different time zone, as I mentioned earlier. So when I walked into um, this house, this old prehistoric house, um, I walked in there and the fire was roaring away. There was a really big fire going in the fireplace, but I couldn't feel it. I remember wondering why I couldn't feel the heat of the fire. And I remember making the comment about the fire being lit on such a warm day, because it was a really sunny day when I went in to look at this house. A lot of you, can you please put in the comments if you know this house I'm talking about? It's about, I don't know, 3 hours out of Auckland, and it's on your way to Gisborne. So please post in the comments if you know the house that I'm talking about. Anyway, I walked in there. The fireplace was going. I couldn't feel the fire. It was a really hot day. There was a guy standing in the kitchen. He was cooking. And so he was a chef, and there was a little servery window. I don't know if those features are still part of that house today, but it was when I walked into that particular time zone. So um, my first comment was, "Why have you got the fire going on such a hot day?" That, that's how I opened up conversation with this guy, and he goes, um, he said to me words to this effect. He said, "We don't let niggers in here." And like, so he completely dismissed what I'd said, and he said, "We don't let niggers in here." And I was like, I was really shocked. Okay, unbeknown to me, I was actually interacting with a different time zone. So it was something that had happened in the past. So when anyway, so he goes, "We don't let niggers in here, or we don't usually let niggers in here." And I was like, "Oh, that's not very nice." And then he looked at me and he said, "Where did you get your clothes from?" Now, now he was thinking that I'm a bush Maori that's just walked into this 5-star hotel, which was in actual fact not a 5-star hotel. But he's thinking, why does she look and sound the way she does? He was probably really surprised that I knew how to speak English as well. So I would say I walked into a time zone that happened around the early 1800s. Um, and it was really, really cool. There was something else that took place. It was just a short interaction because I had actually I said to him, "Oh well, I know when I'm not welcome." So I left, but there was something else he said. He said, "Where did you get your clothes from?" And there was something else he said. I can't quite remember it. But anyway, I left. So the whole interaction took about I don't know, maybe 30, 40 seconds, a minute. Um, and that's an example of the type of time travel that happens to me without me realizing that I was even capable of that type of phenomena. Um, so when you go to YouTube and you look up time travel and you see a lot of different, see and hear a lot of different testimony from people. I don't know if people actually, say, "Hey, I'm a time traveler," like I do, but there are examples where people have disappeared. They've been caught on camera and then they've disappeared into another time zone. I proposed the theory that the plane that disappeared sometime in 2015, was it 2015 or 2016, that plane with a couple of New Zealanders that disappeared? I actually wonder if that plane flew into a different time zone. I'm less convinced of that because I think it only happens to certain people. Um, my fear is that because I'm trying to harness this ability, I want this ability to work at will. So I want to be able to. Oh, that'll be scary. I was thinking I'd want to go back to the day that they signed Te Tiriti or Waitangi and actually have a conversation with Hone Heke if I'm able to um, harness my time travel ability at will. So that's a bit of experimentation that I'm going to be doing sometime in the future. I know, it's pretty freaky, huh? Little old Māori me is coming out about things like time travel. Time travel. It's happened to me quite a few times in my life. Another time it happened to me was when I walked into the Auckland District Court and there was some guys carrying two guys. There were five guys, and they were carrying a really long black bag with really long shoulder straps so that the bag was carried close to the ground, and the bag was big enough to carry a small human in it. So that's how, once I walked into that particular time zone, it was way after hours when it was happening. So that's how I know that the Auckland District Courts have been engaging in criminal activities after hours, and that there are police involved. There are likely a lot of members involved in these criminal activities. That presents yet another reason why I'm promoting Māori government. Um, I want an honest, moral, loving, caring government, for our people. I want protection for our Māori people. I want protection for myself, for my children, for everyone who is being targeted for the depopulation agenda under New Zealand government, and largely that is Māori because they just don't like the fact that we were here before them and therefore we have first rights to land ownership. That's really what it's about. For them, it's about money and power and resources and land on which to build and resources with which to sustain. It's about the longevity of their race and the decreasing in population of our race, which is why they're targeting our children while they're very, very young as well. But they're not just targeting our children now. There are other European families and other um, families from other nationalities that are also being targeted. So that also presents yet another major reason why I'm promoting Māori government in this country. And I hope you can get behind me and support me because I do have a point of difference. Now, um, so there was psychic ability, there was slipstreaming, there's time travel, there's healing. Um, you wouldn't think this with the fact that I'm smoking at the moment, but there I've been able to perform um, actual healings at various times through my life as well. And I really, really love that particular ability more so than, well, not more so. I particularly love this one of my spiritual abilities because um, it is, it's, it's, it's what I'm about. It really, when I discovered that I could heal, and bear in mind, it's just random. It doesn't happen all the time. It just happens sometimes. Um, when I discovered that I could heal, I kind of realized why I've got the personality that I do. I'm all about healing. That's why once Māori government is off the ground, I really want to do away with all the prisons. Um, I want to replace all prisons and all mental health institutions with rehabilitation centres, centres whereby people can go through the global Māori process, admit to all their wrong, harm and bad, and just make it about healing rather than about punishment. Because, like I said, we're all born innocent, and life writes on us, our environment writes on us, people who abuse us as children write on us. We become products of that which we absorb. So it's really, really important. That's why, when you've got children in your life, it's really, really important to um, really nurture them, care for them, protect them. It's just such a vicious world out there for children. So we really want to, as Māori president, I want to put in some very important changes. I want children to start wearing a bracelet whereby if ever they feel threatened at all, they can push a button and a team of people will shoot over to their house right away. And those are the exciting changes that I'm looking forward to under Māori government of Aotearoa. There's a lot of people, sorry, I'm jumping from to a different topic now, but there are a lot of people, I just want to say this, there are a lot of people in government who have committed very, very serious crimes. Um, that's just a generalisation, but I know it to be true because New Zealand government is not about um, trying to um, heal people. They're about entrapping them, setting them up for failure, and then punishing them for falling into the pitfalls that they have laid out for them, falling into the traps that they've laid out for them. So it's just, I find New Zealand government has got more in common with mentally insane people than it does with really um, amazing people. Do you agree with me on that? Um, the fact that they've been around 62 countries, wiped out that population and stolen their land. I mean, that to me is like the anti is anti-human. It's anti-human. Um, yeah, it's just really bad. So anyway, just to recap what I've said so far. So we've talked about psychic ability. We've bullet pointed psychic ability, um, time travel, healing, and slipstreaming, right? Um, those are the four main categories. Basically, everything else kind of comes under those four titles. So it's because I believe in this type of phenomenon based on experience that New Zealand government, New Zealand mental health, and the New Zealand police and um, child, youth, and family, they're all they're all declaring me crazy because I hold those beliefs very near and dear to me. So it's kind of hard to come out about this sort of stuff because there's not a lot of support out there for people like me. Um, I also, please excuse my smoking. Smoking has been my friend through some really, really difficult times. And you'll find out what I'm talking about when you read my affidavits on globalmaori.info. They'll take you straight to the links. Once you go to the homepage, you'll see um, some links there. Now, I think I listed it under CSI, under my CSI page, which is Crime Scene Investigation. Um, so yeah, you'll see that my affidavits are all about um, the criminals that have just deeply, deeply uh, destroyed um, the life that I had with my children. And I'm not only talking about pedophiles and criminals in the community and in my own family. I'm talking about some who are actually holding um, official titles like police officer, judge, doctor. You know, that's and another reason why I'm really promoting Māori government is because they're actually, some of the doctors are actually stealing the internal organs of children, and then in some cases they are killing them and saying that they ran away. Do you know that Child, Youth and Family have acknowledged that over 1,000 children are missing from their SIF system? That is a whole lot of hogwash. The statistics are way higher, much, much higher. Okay, this video has been going for 35 minutes. And I want to start uploading it in a short while because so I don't interfere with the downloading for my flatties. So you see, my brand of government is quite unique. It's quite different to what other Māori groups are promoting. I really believe in what I'm doing. I really believe in the trying to save other Māori children who have these spiritual abilities. I want to stop New Zealand mental health from calling it crazy. Now, here's the nutcracker. Do you want to hear the nutcracker? I'm actually not asking you to believe me without proof. I'm actually willing to prove everything I'm saying, from the psychic ability to the slipstreaming to the time travel. Of course, you won't be able to really, I won't be able to prove slipstreaming as well, because slipstreaming is like passing your behavior through to your child self. I've got to make another video about how I was hypnotized to do that as well. During the attacks, after I founded the Māori Declaration of Independence in 2008, and yes, I acknowledge that there are other DOIs, there are other Māori Declarations of Independence. The difference with my Declaration of Independence is that I'm I just forgot what I was talking about now, but because I digress. Okay, so my point of difference is that I'm actually spelling out New Zealand government's crimes in our Māori Declaration of Independence. So I want input from you as to certain things that will be stated. I want input from people who I want the worst, worst things like internal organ theft. I want all that sort of stuff written down so that people understand why we need to pull away from the New Zealand government. So I'd really like your input on that. There will be we will be holding ceremonies whereby we will invite people to come in and have their say. I say we, but it's actually really just me and my children at the moment who are really defending this this sphere of knowledge, this political venture, this my brand of government. So yeah, so that that's basically um, that's basically what I'm talking about. You know, there is a point of difference to what other MDOIs have at the moment, and if after this date they start coming out about, or well, I've even mentioned this earlier on Facebook, that the point of difference with my MDOI is that we're really spelling out New Zealand's crimes. The fact that they stole our land, murdered our people, they're still targeting our children as part of their depopulation agenda. So all of that is going to come out, and that is what I'll be collecting signatures for. You know, I really wish that if that I didn't have to say all of that, you know. Um, at the same time, whilst bringing out all the ugly truths about what's really going on in this country, whilst bringing all that ugly truth out, I'm also trying to bring out peace, love, and harmony. Okay, because it's really important that we understand that um, even though a lot of criminals, we now have a lot of criminals, even among Māori people. Um, you know, because we have a lot of criminals in our country, we've got the pedophile epidemic going on, breeding more and more pedophiles. It's absolute insanity made to look like it's sane. So, you know, because we've got all of that, you know, it's easy to get sort of taken away with all of that. But in actual fact, you still got to ground yourself in the peace, love, and harmony. Otherwise, it's just really, really difficult. So, getting back to what I was saying, I digress. Um, the the other thing I'm passionate about is protecting our animals and plants and wildlife as well. I really want to see and I really want really want to see our wildlife thrive, and I really want to see Maori architecture come out in the future. I know for a fact that had we not been invaded by other countries like England slash UK, United Kingdom, we would have had some really amazing Maori architecture today. Um, people seem to think that just because we were quite primitive when they came to our shores, that when they invaded our shores, that we were like dumb, but we weren't. We had what we call matakite, which is to see into the future. Um, it's I think matakite encompasses a wide range of spiritual abilities, but that is my basic understanding of matakite. It's seeing future. Um, so they thought that we were like these primitive human beings, but in actual fact, we were very, very highly intelligent and very advanced. Now, to us, wealth is having food, um, is living in a beautiful country like this. Wealth, wealth was wealth of wisdom, wealth of knowledge. We understood things that we couldn't. We knew things that we couldn't have possibly known about the moon, about the Earth cycles, about we had our own calendar. Um, they seemed to think that we were just these dumb Maoris. And to to be perfectly honest, Maori do not deserve that label. Maori do not deserve that title of dumb, and yet we get called dumb and lazy. We are being oppressed in our own country. You try living in the shoes of a Maori person who gets treated like a nigger by many white people. I've been treated like a nigger by many white people. That doesn't mean to say I don't love white people. I do. I have some white friends who I absolutely love just as much as I love my Maori people, So, um, yeah, that's the whole nother subject, the racism in our country. That's another reason propelling me forward for Maori government. I'm going to be holding public signing sessions. Um, Hopefully, I'm going to get the cooperation of some of the major corporates in this country who will let me hold signing sessions in their corridors where there's a lot of foot traffic. So hopefully that's going to happen in the not too distant future. And it's going to be a really exciting time. You're going to be able to walk up to me and say, "Hey, Nellie, how's it going?" So that's going to be really cool. Obviously, I won't be smoking in public, but I will sneak around the corner and have a cigarette. if I feel stressed. But I'm trying to quit these horrible, horrible things. I wish they'd never been invented. They do nothing but attack your health. And I got so much I want to achieve before I die. Um, okay, another of our spiritual abilities, which is actually something that we all have, is reincarnation. I know for a fact that I'm going to come back with these same spiritual abilities. Um, I believe I've had past lives. One lady, Gail, where was she? In Howick or something. She actually told me that in my past life I was a Maori man. So I think a lot of people, when they do come from past lives, it's it's very common to switch gender, um, and to see what it is like to live life as a female or a male. I also wonder if we do come back as animals. You know, there are no hard and fast rules, I don't think. There are guidelines, but in the spiritual realm, I don't think there are any hard and fast rules. Um, I'd really like to make it up to Waitangi this Waitangi weekend. Sorry, this Waitangi day. I'm really, really angry at the people suggesting that we change the name Waitangi Day to New Zealand Day. I mean, oh, that's a really good way to get me swearing. I just posted about that on my M.a.o.r.i page. By the way, please like my M.a.o.r.i stands for Māori Government page. Now, as I'm promoting Māori Government, this is our strapline. M.a.o.r.i stands for Māori Government of Aotearoa, also known as the Moral Government of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Okay, gosh, the growth that has happened to me since getting past my intermittent memory loss is amazing. Um, it's been really tough, hence the cigarettes. But as always, I try to see every bad negative thing that happens to me as an education, something that I can learn from, something that will help me not to repeat, in terms of leaving myself open to criminals trying to hurt you. But it's it's a fact of life when because New Zealand government doesn't acknowledge the wrong, harm and bad that they've done by taking over our country and harming our people, because they don't acknowledge that, because we haven't had that really, really sincere apology, they're all about um, they're all about force, using violence to make people submit. Okay, their mental health system uses violence. Their New Zealand police force uses violence. Um, their Ministry of Justice uses violence. Their prison systems uses violence. So they're all about maintaining that power, that control, and siphoning our Māori, our profits from Māori land, to their own bidding, to do with what benefits their people the most. Um, it's all about. I've just lost my train of thought. Sorry. Oh, look, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I've been recording 49 minutes. Okay, well, I should probably end this video here. Um, and I'll start uploading soon. Um, yeah, so I guess, I realized that while recording this video, I've spoken about the spiritual abilities that I'm creating awareness for. And then I've also been speaking a lot about Māori government and what I'd like to achieve with that. Um, and so my point is that they kind of just go hand in hand. Like, people will say, oh, she's using her spiritual abilities to promote Māori government. Um, yes, that's true. Yes, I will be doing that, because one of the other things that we want to do with Māori government is um, we want to start a bureau of investigation that uses psychics, uses time travelers, uses um, healers, uses people with um, spiritual abilities to apprehend crime. That's going to be a very, very big operation of ours. Um, Another thing, because there's so many pedophiles in our country, and because they're breeding like crazy, um, I'm going to promote that all pedophiles who come forward and admit all their wrong, harm, and bad, and start the healing process, and um, and revisit their childhood and find out why they do all these things. Um, all people who come forward are going to receive amnesty. Why I say that is because I recognise that we're all born innocent, and these people did not choose to become pedophiles. They were abused to become pedophiles. All right, that's the general rule of thumb. I'm not saying that every pedophile has been molested in childhood, but I'm saying 90% of them. Some pedophiles are pedophiles just because they want to be, just because they choose to be. Okay, so I'm not ruling that out, but I'm saying that 90% of pedophiles became so through no choice of their own. And that's a really big thing to recognise. Yeah, so part of this video is to just say sorry. I won't be able to get up to Waitangi in February next month. But, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, it's still January. But I really hope that, if you do want to hear me speak up there, it's only because of funds. I really can't afford it at the moment. But if you want me to like speak up there, then by all means play this video up there. Now, before I go, I'm going to show you something really, really interesting, and I'm going to tell you a little story. Um, oh, by the way, I posted it on Facebook the other day that when I went down to Gisborne, um, years before I decided to call myself Māori president, I went down to Gisborne and I said, oh, I need another cigarette for this. I went down to Gisborne and there was a lady at a servery, at an eatery. My partner and I were hungry, so we pulled into this eatery. Yes, Shalice, that was your dad. We pulled into this eatery and we ordered some food, and this lady, like, she looked at me like she knew me. And I wasn't that well known then. um, I was actually just, trying to get by in life as best I could. Um, but she acted like she knew me, and after ordering and making small talk, she walked away and she came back and she said, "Is your name Nellie Morton?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, how did you know that?" And she said she's she was spiritually gifted, or she said she was gifted. And she went on to say, "You're going to be the Māori president." And this was years before I'd even thought about doing it. Well, I'll tell you a little story about that too. And I was like, wow. I was like, oh, really? And I the news didn't. I didn't take it too seriously what she'd said. I actually even thought she might have been a little bit, like, is she all there? Which was really, really, I humbly, humbly apologise. I was suffering memory loss, intermittent amnesia, memory loss back then. Um, and she said, I can see and hear a lot of people clapping for you. and that's what it means. That so this is another one. She was Maori. She was quite a fair Maori, fair-looking, fair-skinned Maori. Oh, white-skinned Maori. That's she's another one of our gifted people, and I'm on the hunt for more gifted people. Um, but she was actually crying. She was actually crying when she was talking to me, and I'm starting to cry just thinking about it. I'm not going to cry. Um, but getting back to my efforts for Māori government, so that was really interesting. That was quite a few years before I started calling myself the Māori president, and it wasn't because of that that I did, because I had suffered intermittent amnesia, so I couldn't even remember that. Um, so just coming back to what I was saying about slipstreaming, um, um, through slipstreaming, I was able to tell my dad, okay, when I was 5 years old, through slipstreaming, if you remember what slipstreaming is, it's being able to pass your future self through your child self. So through slipstreaming, I was able to tell my dad that in 2008, I was going to found a Māori Declaration of Independence and I was going to become the Māori president. I told my dad this in 1977, the year Elvis died. I told my dad this, and it was either 1977 or 1978, the year my dad died. The year my dad died. So my dad died 1 year after Elvis. My dad was born in 1920. That's quite a dinosaur, Daddy. Um, but so my story's really interesting from that perspective too, of being able to see there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen in the future that I'm going to pass through my child self to my dad, which is why my dad went to great lengths to secure a lot of money for me so that he could support what I was doing here in the future. So when it comes to um, oh, one of my favourite sayings is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? I was having a conversation with an Indian guy, actually, a lovely, lovely Indian guy, and he was saying that everything is written, and um, um, we were, me and Homie D were saying, oh, does that mean that everything is already planned and we're just going through it? Um, well, kind of that concept comes through when we start looking at seeing the future. Oh, that was the other, yeah. When we start looking at seeing the future, um, you wonder what came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first? Did this happen because we saw it happen in the future, or did what happened in the future happen because of what we did today? Um, I'll have to get my head around that a bit more. I used to have my head around that, but it's I know with so many different things that you've got to focus on each day. It's just quite a you've got to turn your mind to different things, and then once you turn your mind to something else, you forget about what some the other information, and yeah, it's just one of those things. It's one of those things that I struggle with, actually. uh, Sometimes I digress and then I forget what I was talking about. I'm going to just light up one last cigarette, and then I'm just going to babble on a little bit. And oh yes, I was going to show you something really exciting. Okay. So um, and I was going to tell you a story about it. Okay, so this here, I'm going to do the cigarette first. Bear with me. I know this will be making a lot of you feel like smoking, but please don't. Please don't. It's really, really, really bad for you. Really, really bad for you. I was going to pay one of my Facebook friends to guard me for a weekend to stop me from smoking, but that didn't turn out. That didn't happen. So I don't know. I might do it again one day. But however, I've got to quit smoking. One way or another, I've got to quit smoking. Okay, so in these photos I have in my gallery, I have a photo of me. Now, this was taken inside a tent from the warehouse, um, and I was feeling really peaceful when I took this photo. And look what happened. Look what happened to my eyes when I was in that mood. I was feeling really, really peaceful. Can you see that? Can you see how my eyes have changed? They, hang on, let me try and. They've the pupils have split into like a three-pronged propeller. Do you see that? That's the unusual DNA that I have. That's not photoshopped. That's not that's not a reflection or any special lens. That is bona fide. That's what my eyes do sometimes. People have seen it over my life. Some people have said, "Oh my gosh, you've got spiders in your eyes." So, and I'll tell you another little unusual story about me. When I was attending Dargaville High School, um, a call came out for people who wanted to, just one second, a call came out. I don't recall whether we had an intercom system back then or whether how the information was passed out. But anyway, they told us that anyone who wanted to donate blood could go down to the Dargaville Town Hall, it was called the Town Hall back then, and donate blood. So I decided, like, I was being really badly abused at home. And I mean really badly abused. And you'll be able to read about that in my first affidavit. And I just wanted an excursion. I wanted to do something different. So I went down to the town hall and I gave blood. I donated blood. Well, when they tried to determine what my blood type was, guess what the lady told me? She said my blood kept changing. She said my blood kept changing. And I couldn't understand it. And I thought, well, God, that's got to be spiritual, you know? So I went out and I sat on the steps and I prayed to God. I've had a relationship with God throughout my life, throughout my life. I prayed to God and I said, please, can you please just stop my blood from changing? Otherwise, I'm going to get the beat downs when I get home. And then after that, my blood settled to, I think it's C. Yeah, the most common blood type. Um, so that was a real true story. I mean, if I had told you that my pupils of my eyes split into like a three-pronged propeller, you'd think I was crazy, but I've just shown you proof. So I'm willing to prove what I'm saying about time travel. I can't prove slipstreaming as well because I can't reverse back to my child self so that you can see me speaking through my child self. But I can prove as much as I'm able to. Um, it's really important that I do prove these abilities because if I don't, New Zealand mental health will never see the need to change what they're doing. So to start the process of proving, oh, telepathy was the other one. Telepathy was the other one that I forgot to mention in my spiritual abilities. So to start proving my spiritual abilities, I'm going to do a live telepathic demonstration in a court of law so that it can be approved by in a court of law. Um, that might happen on the 28th of February. Um, 2018. If you'd like to come along to that hearing, I think I know I'm allowed to have people there, but I'm not sure if I've got to have them approved first. I don't think so. So if you'd like to come along to that hearing, I'm not sure if I am going to do the live telepathic demonstration there. It's going to depend on whether they are open to it. If they are open to it, I'm going to be recording it on this phone, and then I'm going to be uploading it to my YouTube channel, and then I'm going to post it on Facebook, and it's going to be the first live telepathic demonstration ever performed in all of history. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm sure it's been done before among Māori people, but it's probably never been done in a court of law. My daughter Shalise and I, we do it a lot. We do it all the time. There were many times after, oh, by the way, my daughter is the youngest child in the world to have a baby. She was 2.5 years old when she gave life to birth to a live little girl, little baby girl. Oh, even now as I'm talking, while all my children are sleeping, they can be telepathically connecting with me speaking like this. Um, so yeah, telepathy was the biggie that I was going to be talking about, including in my list of spiritual talents. So I'm going to prove that I'm going to start proving what I'm talking about by first proving telepathy. So what I'm going to do in a court of law, and this hearing with ACC, it's more like an informal courtroom. Um, it's because they've declined my rape claim. They haven't declined my rape claim. They've declined to give me any compensation for the fact that I contracted uh, intermittent amnesia from being raped and impregnated at 6 years old. And my little girl Shalise gave birth at 2 years old. So my first baby after my brother raped me was at 6 years old. After my daughter was raped by David Peter McGregor, she had a baby at 2 years old. So we do have unusual DNA. Even when Shalise was in my womb, guess what she was doing when the lady was doing an ultrasound? She was doing somersaults. How many babies do somersaults in the womb? Like over and over again, she was doing flips. On the first day that Shalise was born, she could speak words. She could speak English. On the second day of her birth, she said, "I love you, Nellie," 3 times. Why she called me Nellie and not Mum suggests to me that she was someone who's come through from the past. She has already lived a life before she was born to me. And I think that's why she called me Nellie. So anyway, there's a lot of stories that I want to share that are true. Um, um, I really want to open people's minds up to the fact that this is reality, this is reality for us. We can't help but own these spiritual gifts. We can't help but. They are an intrinsic part of our very soul. And without them, we cease to exist. We curl up on the couch for 4 years at a time. That's what I did. when I got forced under the New Zealand Mental Health Act. That's why I put on so much weight, but I'm really trying to lose the weight now. So I've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes. It's really nice to have your company with me here. Thank you very much for watching. I'm trying to write a book about everything that I know, and um, I'd like to put the word out there for my. I'd like to put the word out there for the man who handed me copies of my bonus bonds on the premises of Child, Youth and Family in Orewa in 2011. I'd really like to speak to you again. I do know that you were my father's lawyer. That's what I believe. You were my father's lawyer. BNZ Bank has stolen the millions my dad left to me. And I believe a judge and police officers and members from Inland Revenue and New Zealand Law Society and BNZ Bank are all involved. So it was quite a significant bank heist. Because you know about the money that my dad left from life insurance policies that he took out because I warned him of his murder before he died, because you have that information, it's really important that I find you so that we can take a case to court. I'm hoping that you'll do this for me free of charge, that you'll act for me free of charge, and then I'll be able to pay you once I get my money back. So I know you'll do that for me. You're a really cool guy. I remember how kind and handsome you were when you were younger, when you were a young lawyer. I was 6 years old when I met you. So another part of the reason why I've been forced under the Mental Health Act is because they're trying to discredit me about my stolen inheritance. um, it will seem very unfair to you all that my father left everything, the land, the bonus bonds, the inheritance in his will, but once you get to know my story, you'll understand why he probably felt like he had no choice but to. I was able to pass some information about what was happening in the future. So um, it's because of those reasons why my dad left everything to me. Now, um, I think I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to start uploading this video, and you'll be able to see it on Facebook tomorrow. If you have some comments that you want to leave me, please feel free to like and subscribe. If you want to push the hate button or the thumbs down button, feel free to do that too. But I think the more I am able to prove what I'm saying, then the more I go public about everything I'm doing, the more thumbs ups I'm going to get. So, yeah, if you'd like to join me in my quest for Māori government, um, please, get in touch with me. Um, I'm looking for sponsorship. I'm looking, in the absence of my inheritance, I know I'll get my millions back. Um, but in the absence of that money, I'm looking for sponsorship. So if you can afford to put even a couple of dollars towards helping me in my ventures, that'll be really, really great. It's going to be very exciting once the live telepathic demonstration is made public. It's going to seem like just a normal video to you guys, but there'll be some interaction, some serious interaction with my little girl. And so, yeah, so I'm hearing movement in the house. It is 2:34 a.m. and um, you'll find my bank account details on www.globalmaori.info. So please feel free to look at that, and if you can contribute anything, I'd be really, really grateful, particularly because I want to get a camper van. I want to go around the country, travel around the country. I might be getting a job at New World Whangaparaoa in the not too distant future. sometime, I might even be starting work next week. And if that happens, then I might have to, instead of going around the country, I really want to go around the country in a camper van. But if I do get this job, I might have to stay at the job and just get my signatures electronically, like online. Um, if you'd like to give me your photo that I can put up on the website to show who are the people supporting my efforts for Māori government, I'd be really grateful. Um, to me, that's better than a signature. But I want to go around the country collecting signatures for that hard copy as well. What is going to happen if we had an internet blackout? I mean, it's just going to wipe so much information, including these videos. So it's important to get that hard copy as well. All right, people. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget my bank account details are on my website, www.globalmaori.info. You'll find it under donations. The website needs a little bit more editing, so please have patience with the fact that it's not as tidy. Even my affidavits need editing. I was very raw when I was writing, raw with pain, having to relive some of those situations when I was writing those affidavits. So please bear with me with regards to the editing, and let's get this show on the road. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting me. I look forward to seeing you out in the community when I go around collecting signatures. And to all you corporate New Zealand companies, I have actually dealt with you all before. I signed up over 25 of New Zealand's largest corporate companies when I was running my business and my company called SaleWise New Zealand, which was a website that it was like a Google search engine of specials. It was aimed to help people on low incomes um, afford to buy what they needed by only ever buying anything on special. So I'm going to get that website back up and running again. But I have had dealings with the warehouse. I signed up the warehouse, Number One Shoe Warehouse, Hannah's Shoes, Firestone Direct. These are all the national offices of these companies. Firestone Direct, I signed up 100% Your Electric Store, Kathmandu. These are all the national offices that I signed up. So I have had dealings with them before, and I'm hoping that they're going to cooperate with me in terms of being able to hold signing sessions um, in their corridors where all their foot traffic are going in and out of the store. Okay, you'll find too that SaleWise New Zealand has been struck off, apparently because I did not file an annual return, which is not true. I did post it in the mail. I think I was supposed to do it electronically. Maybe I did fail at not filing the annual review, but that's the only reason it got struck off. There were really strict laws about being managing director of a company. Um, and, when I ran that company, Shalise used to sit on my knee while I'd have phone calls and things like that. I signed up most of those big companies, big names, um, without even going to see them. So if I can do that, then maybe I can get all my signatures for Māori government from this room that I'm sitting in as well. But that's no fun. I want to get out there and meet people and talk to people. So anyway, that's it. That's all from me. I look forward to you guys contributing money to my cause. Like I said, my bank account is on www.globalmaori.info. I look forward. You know what? Even if you can't make a monetary contribution, please make a moral contribution. By moral contributions, I'm saying be kind to your neighbour, be kind to your children, give a homeless person a meal, give them a jacket, um, go and help someone at work do their job better. Um, go and be like, go and spread messages of love, peace, and harmony to like all the people that you know. Um, those are the moral contributions which, if you cannot make a monetary contribution, I really appreciate it if you make those monetary contributions. The biggest moral contribution that you can make to me is to believe me, not the criminals who are lying about me. The criminals who are lying about me are New Zealand Mental Health, New Zealand Police. Obviously, there's some good ones in there, but a lot of them are really bad. Um, Child, Youth and Family are also lying about me. Um, um, and the truth is in my affidavit. So when people say you have to hear both sides of the story, in actual fact, people refabricate, invent, and totally make up absolute lies about the people that they're trying to incriminate. And a lot of what these criminals do is when they commit a crime, they they turn the crime around so that it makes their victim look like the criminal. And that's what they've done to me. So the biggest moral contribution that you can make to my life right now is to believe me, not all these government officials and my own family members who are telling really, really huge lies about me. Okay, I'll tell you more about things as we go along, but this is it. This is the end of this video for now. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll look forward to meeting you out in public sometime soon. Take care. M.a.o.r.i, and sweet dreams. Bye for now.